In traditional Greek drama, the role of the Greek chorus was, in a sense, to comment on the action. Throughout Star Wars, while other people are acting out the scene,
I'm going there to end this war.
C-3PO and R2-D2, they're commenting on it.
Well, he is under a lot of stress, I think.
If C-3PO and R2-D2 embody the character of the comic everyman, the amphibian Jar Jar Binks suggests another timeless archetype, the childlike innocent.
My carrying is ferret.
You know, I find that Jar Jar creature to be a little odd.
My carrying weren't.
If we think of Greek and Roman comedy, there is a character called the parasite, who is a Jar Jar Binks kind of tag-along person that is comic.
Now stay here and keep out of trouble.
Jar Jar Binks starts off as a rather silly character, not very responsible, but gains increasing roles of responsibility to the point that he becomes a member of the Senate. So we see him in a genuine leadership role. In a sense, he grows up in these films. And if you think of the children who might have related to him, they have, in a sense, grown up along with him.
But not all comic characters are innocents like Jar Jar, R2-D2, or C-3PO. Enter Han Solo's nemesis, the grotesque space gangster, Jabba the Hutt.
You tell that slimy piece of worm-ridden filth he'll get no such pleasure from us.
Jabba the Hutt represents greed and excessiveness. I think that's represented by his sheer physical excess, his sheer corpulence.
Oh, I can't bear to watch.
I would argue with you, like, Jabba is sexy, because what's sexier than the dude who's, like, risen to a position of power where he can just lay around, you know, and things happen in front of him. And he's that powerful and he's that rich, and yeah, he's a bit slobby. But I have to like Jabba the Hutt, because I'm shaped like Jabba the Hutt. And without Jabba, we never get to see Leia in a bikini, so thank God for Jabba the Hutt.
He is kind of a modern dragon. And what do the dragons of mythology do? They capture maidens, and they hoard gold. And the dragons hold those hostage.
Characters like Jabba also reflect potentially deadly obstacles along the hero's path. Obstacles that test and strengthen him on his journey.
That's a very prevalent motive in Greek myth, the hero becoming himself by being tested by various monsters. Hercules, he is made to go through these labors in order to become himself.
Another theme is the journey into the belly of the whale, as Campbell called it, which references Jonah being swallowed by a big fish in the Bible. So one sees that happening to the heroes throughout Star Wars as they're swallowed by large entities. It seems to suggest going to the deepest part of oneself. So there's a moment of darkness and there's a threat to the self.
The cave is collapsing.
This is no cave.
What?
Evil is a monstrous force swallowing our heroes. It's an experience of being in the belly of the whale.
The journey of the hero is very much one of overcoming doubt about themselves.
There's something not right here. What's in there?
Only what you take with you.
There's usually many times in which they have to overcome their worst fears. They have to confront their nightmares, basically.
We certainly have that bit of evil monster in all of us. This is why monster combat is so prevalent in the hero's journey narrative. have to fight the monsters of outside circumstances, but we also have to fight those demons that come from our own heart.
For every hero, there stands a villain. For if there is good, there also must be evil.
Evil does exist. Don't kid yourself. There's evil in the world. Deep and abiding, powerful evil. And by the time you recognize the evil, it's too late.
In literature, mythology, history, and scripture lurks a legion of evil, twisted, and depraved characters. Among them is Darth Vader, the Empire's ruthless enforcer.
We will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base.
And confronting this dark lord of the Sith and all that he represents is a critical part of the hero's journey.
Join me, and I will complete your training. If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darth Vader radiates the glamour of evil. He's a visual emblem of pure willpower, and that is always attractive.
There's a Darth Vader swagger. He's incredibly confident. In my neighborhood, in the inner city in Detroit, we always thought a big guy with James Earl Jones' voice wearing all shiny black was the biggest pimp in the history of motion pictures.
What have you done with those plans?
He owned everything. Everybody was afraid of him. What kid isn't seduced by the idea of complete fearlessness?
Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive.
I'd say when you're young, but I probably still feel this way, Darth Vader is wish fulfillment at its finest. Here's a guy who is unstoppable.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader.
He doesn't even have to swing a punch to take you out.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Plus, he's got a cape. Who doesn't want the cape?
The swirling cape. That's a big part of it. He dresses cool.
The dark characters always seem to get the cool costumes, which is to say there is a dramatic reward. There is an excitement to choosing evil, to choosing the corruption.
When Vader was introduced in Episode 4, A New Hope, there was little to suggest that underneath his protective black bodysuit stood the figure of a once proud hero, whose personality would be revealed as more complex and resonant with each new Star Wars chapter.
I've encountered divergence.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
He is the chosen one.
As revealed in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Vader was born Anakin Skywalker. Rescued from a life of slavery by Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, the young boy left his home and mother to fulfill his destiny.
I will come back and free you, Mom. I promise.
Here is a gifted person who grows up in an oppressive situation. He begins life as a slave, who suffers terrible losses early in his life.
Don't look back. Don't look back.
He's wrenched away from his mother. And it is the rage stemming probably from grief and fear that leads to the fall of this particular hero.
We can look at Anakin Skywalker having to deal with the problem of loss and having great difficulties with it. It begins when he loses his mother.
Stay with me, Mom.
I love.
It's setting in motion the events that will lead to him being Darth Vader. I went to find my mother and she was dead, so I slaughtered a whole village full of sand people.
I killed them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too. I hate them!
It throws him into a dark state, and he believes that he could have done something to prevent it.
Why couldn't I save her? I know I could have.
You're not all-powerful.
Well, I should be.
He's gripped by power, which is a temptation that Luke is able to avoid.
I will be the most powerful Jedi ever. I promise you. I will even learn to stop people from dying.
It has all the hallmarks of a classical epic. In the Iliad, Achilles, who is the hero of the Greek army, is dodged by anger. The first 20 books, he's angry at Agamemnon. The 22nd through 24th book, he's angry at Hector. He is angry. This is exactly what Star Wars is dealing with, which is fear leads to anger, leads to hate, leads to suffering.